Hi guys, welcome to my channel ZIBAKERIZ, where I show you how to create beautiful decorated cakes, cupcakes, and so much more. So let's get started. Over here I have my sponge cake, I have some strawberry sauce, a vanilla American buttercream, some simple syrup, as well as my bench scraper and tapered spatula. So this is my vanilla chiffon sponge cake. You can see it has nice straight even sides, and then I have a very nice tight crumb to the top. Over here I have some strawberry sauce that I'm going to use for the filling, as well as this silky smooth vanilla American buttercream, some simple syrup to soak my sponge cake, as well as my bench scraper and tapered spatula. So I've added my vanilla American buttercream into a piping bag, as well as my strawberry sauce that I made as well. I've put that into a piping bag as well. You also need a cake board. Over here I have an 8-inch cake board. You need a turntable as well as a slip mat. So I'm going to start off by adding a little bit of my buttercream onto my cake board, making sure it's nice and centered. Then you want to add some simple syrup on top of your sponge cake, add a nice even layer of buttercream, and then smooth that out with a tapered spatula. Then you want to go ahead and smooth out the sides of your cake as well, and then you want to create a nice border all the way around your cake. This is going to prevent your filling from kind of leaking out, so you want to make sure definitely to add that dam on the outside. Then you want to smooth out your strawberry sauce with a spoon, and then we're going to repeat the same process again. So you want to add your next layer of sponge cake and then add some simple syrup and continue the same process again. So I also have two very important announcements to make. The first one is that I have officially launched my online courses on January 1st of 2026. This took me many years, and I have poured in a lot of love and time into those courses, and I really do hope that you enjoy them. If you want to learn more about the courses that I have launched, you can go on my website www.zibakeriz.com. So I've launched a total of 10 courses, and each course is like its own mini master course. So you can absolutely purchase each course individually or bundle a few courses based on the skills that you want to work on. But if you are more serious about leveling up, you can definitely bundle all of the courses together and get the Cake Masterclass Foundations bundle, which will give you the full roadmap to make cakes that look clean and professional and taste delicious. If you do join the Cake Masterclass, you also get access to ZIBAKERIZ community, where you get to share your progress and help each other out and just be a part of this very beautiful, positive community. My courses are designed for those of you who want to go deeper and refine your skills, but I also want you to know this, that you never have to buy my course to learn from me. I will always continue to share free, valuable content here on my YouTube channel, because teaching and helping you grow is at the heart of why I started ZIBAKERIZ in the first place. So I will continue to keep sharing video tutorials on my channel and sharing what I love with all of you. So you can comment down below what you would like to learn from me as well. So now back to the video. I just did a crumb coat, and I'm just going to place that in the fridge to get nice and firm. And then over here in this buttercream, I added a little bit of black gel food coloring to get that gray shade. So in that much, the cake has chilled, and I've placed my buttercream into a piping bag. And now I'm just going to go ahead and add a generous layer of buttercream all around the cake, starting from the bottom and then gradually working my way towards the top. So this is the final coat of buttercream that I am adding to my cake. So you just want to make sure that you do add a generous amount. Then taking my tapered spatula, I'm just going to go ahead and smooth off the top of the cake. And at this point, you can see I'm holding my tapered spatula a little bit at an angle just so I get a nice smooth top. Then go ahead, smooth the sides with a bench scraper. Go ahead and fill in any of those gaps with the tapered spatula and continue to smooth the sides. Then to give my buttercream a nice final finish, I like to hold my bench scraper from the opposite end and create this nice final smooth finish. To create the chrome effect, over here I have some clear coconut extract. You also need some silver luster dust. I got this from Amazon. This silver luster dust by Sugar Art, so you can see side by side, one's a little darker and one's brighter. A spray bottle, Wilton tip number 6B, Wilton tip number 4B, as well as the Wilton tip number 3, which is a small round tip. So my cake was in the fridge and it has set, so it's nice and chill, and then I just place a knife in some hot water and glide that over the top to remove the excess buttercream that was hanging over the edge, and then smooth that off with some tapered spatula. Then you want to glide your tapered spatula on the side just so you have nice, clean, crisp edges. That's what creates a very nice finish to your cake. So I've placed my buttercream into a piping bag fitted with a Wilton tip number 6B to create the border starting from the bottom and then gradually working towards the top. So you want to make sure to hold your piping bag nice and straight against the side of your cake, apply pressure, and then pull down. Then you want to overlap on the previous shell. Make sure that you use a consistent hand, so while you're applying pressure with one of the hand, the other hand is going to slowly turn the turntable. So apply pressure and then pull down, apply pressure and pull down. You want to make sure that you use a consistent hand, and you want to apply the same amount of pressure as you keep creating the shell border. And once you reach the end, you just want to make both of those shells kind of connect together. And at this point, the shell border is complete. So I'm going to repeat the same process again on the top. You want to make sure that you hold the piping bag nice and straight and create the shell as close as to the edge as possible. This is what's going to give you a nice clean finish. And then you want to apply pressure where you previously ended your first shell. And once you reach the end, you want to just have a nice seamless finish. So you can see at this point, nice and close up, the shell border is complete on the bottom and the top of the cake. So now over here, I have a Wilton tip number 21, which is a small open star tip, and I'm going to use this to create a small little shell border on the bottom of the shell and on the top border of the cake. So we're going to follow that same technique. So slightly above your previous shell border, you're going to apply pressure and then pull down while holding your piping tip a little bit at an angle towards the inside of the cake. So the most important thing to getting a very nice, beautiful shell border is the consistent pressure that you're applying on your piping bag, as well as having the same sized shells. So you want to make sure that you keep a consistent hand, and with your other hand, you keep turning your turntable. So I have sped up this process just because it does take a little bit of time, but the technique is the same over and over again. So you want to apply pressure and then pull down. You do want to take breaks along the way just because it can be a little bit straining on your hand. And once you've gone all the way around, just try to create a nice seamless finish towards the end. So now we're going to repeat the same thing towards the top border of the cake. So you want to hold your piping bag nice and straight flat against the top of the cake. And we're going to be creating the same border again on the top. So apply pressure and then you want to pull down. And you are kind of overlapping on your previous shell, but the main important key aspect of creating this border is trying to keep a consistent hand so you have the same size shell. If you are feeling a little nervous about doing this onto your cake directly, then I would suggest practicing a little bit onto some parchment paper as well before you go ahead and do it directly on your cake. So over here I have a 2.5-inch biscuit cutter, and I'm going to use that to help create the guideline on the side of the cake. You can also use toothpicks as well and kind of create a rough guideline yourself if you don't have a cookie cutter. But if you do, I would suggest it because it makes the life a little bit more easier. So you just want to apply some pressure and kind of create half the guideline of your circle and then create another one at the bottom. And then I'm just going to go ahead with the Wilton tip number 3 and create small little dots. Also, if you do mess up your guideline, it is perfectly fine. You can just go back and using a tapered spatula or a paintbrush kind of just go back and hide that marking that you've created. So don't stress too much. You can always fix that up as well. So you can see I'm just following that first guideline and keep on creating these small little dots until I've gone all the way around. And now for the second line underneath, I'm going back in with the same piping tip number, Wilton tip number 21, which was that open star tip. And I'm going to create small little shell borders going all the way around each of that half circle guideline that I've created. So apply pressure, lift up. And then once you create one entire half circle, you want to create a small little rosette where both of those lines are connected. And to create the rosette, you just apply pressure and then you kind of swirl counterclockwise and then you want to release. You want to do that all the way around until you've completed all of the piping. And now we're going to go ahead and place this into the fridge for about 10 to 15 minutes or until nice and chill. In that much, I've taken my spray bottle and I've added in some luster dust and some clear coconut extract. A lot of people use vodka, but I don't use any form of alcohol, so I've gone with a clear extract. You can use lemon extract or coconut extract. Over here I've used some lemon extract. So you want to make sure that the consistency is not too thin or runny, and you want to spray from far away. And I do have to let you know that this requires a lot of practice before you go ahead and do it on a cake. I actually practiced a lot in a bowl with some buttercream before I went and did it onto my cake. And I learned that you want to make sure that you don't add too much liquid. So the ratio to the luster dust is a little bit more and not too runny. You want to keep creating layers and layers of this luster spray on your cake to get that beautiful chrome effect. And I've done this around at least 3-4 times all around the cake. So I did have to refill my luster dust spray a few times, sometimes going in with the darker luster dust and sometimes with the brighter silver. And once you're happy with how that chrome looks, you want to just go ahead, clean your cake board, and then place this into the fridge overnight just for any of that extract, or if you are using alcohol, to evaporate overnight to give you that nice clean finish to your cake. And that's pretty much how to create that beautiful vintage chrome cake. Now, to add some final finishing details, over here I have some silver pearls as well as some of that silver luster dust that I showed you earlier, and you need a paintbrush as well as some tweezers. So I'm going to take a paintbrush and dip my paintbrush inside of that luster dust and kind of just tap my paintbrush over the cake. This is going to give you a nice shimmer on top of your chrome cake. So you just want to go ahead and be generous and do that all around your cake. So you just want to be generous and apply enough of that luster dust all around the cake. Once you've done that, you're going to go ahead and place your dragées carefully on top of your cake. So wherever both of those curved points meet, you want to carefully place one silver dragée there. You just want to take your time with this process, and once you've added all of the dragées in place, you just want to carefully kind of push them in place. So at this point, this beautiful silver chrome vintage cake is complete. So this leads me to my second announcement that I saved for you guys for the end of this video, is that this cake is a small thank you for 100,000 subscribers. I know it's long overdue, and now we're already at 130K. Truly, I wouldn't be able to share or teach what I love if it wasn't for your love and support, whether that's watching my videos, liking, commenting, or supporting my work in any way. So that's why I would like to say thank you for being here and supporting and growing with me and letting me share and teach with all of you what I'm truly passionate about. And I hope to continue to share and teach what I love with all of you. Also, if you are struggling to get your cakes to look like this and your inspiration photos, then sign up with your email and get access to my quick transformation guide. I created simple steps to go from messy to flawless cakes, and it is absolutely free. So once you sign up with your email, it will be sent to your inbox immediately. If you want to learn exactly how I make the buttercream, fill the cakes, and decorate it step by step, my full online course with every secret and technique is available on my website, so I will leave a link to that down below. So you can see how beautiful this cake also looks on the inside. You have beautiful even cake layers and a perfect cream to filling ratio. And that's exactly what you're looking for when creating cakes. They should look beautiful on the outside and taste delicious on the inside. So now I'm just going to go ahead and take a bite out of this beautiful, delicious cake. And you can see that you get a little bit of everything. So a nice, soft, moist sponge, that strawberry filling, and that vanilla American buttercream. This silver vintage chrome cake is inspired by my YouTube silver play button, a milestone I never imagined when I started. Thank you for being a part of this journey. More creations and lessons are coming, and I hope to see you guys in my future videos.